Our friend Jack Stallard out in Longview is writing the Southwest Junior College Football Conference preview, the junior college page.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is that they played on Saturday.
Yeah.
And technically, if Cisco hadn't gotten screwed, they'd be playing this weekend for a national championship. But Cisco got screwed.
Yes.
Snow College is trash. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But we're at the point of the process where you and I and Ish and Shahan and Will and Step and everyone, it's all hands on decks, interns, we're all reading pages. We're all it's just reading pages, proofing pages, trying to catch little mistakes, trying to catch little errors, making sure that this is as clean as it can be, as clean as a 400-page magazine can be.
Yeah. I'll be going on week 3, I think, of nothing but reading.
Yeah.
So
That's your big lift.
that's my big lift, yeah.
The magazine. So, as a result, and there's something there. I read something at some point about how the phenomenon of if you say a word over and over and over, it starts to sound weird.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And if you read things over and over and over, your brain starts to fold on itself.
Yes.
And you start to think things that you otherwise would never think. And you had an interesting question today.
Yes.
Would you like to ask her, or you want me to sum it up?
I did. Well, I was thinking about it because a portion of the show, one of the words that I was typing was quarterback. And I was
quarterback, the signal caller.
The signal caller. And I have always thought this. I just never bring it up. My question was, is there a specific reason on why quarterback is one word, yet running back is 2 words?
So this is interesting. And I think I have an answer. I think the answer
other than that's just the way it is, you know?
Well, there's an element of that.
Yes.
But I believe because running, fundamentally, if you are a running back, if you are Isaiah Spiller.
Yes.
You are a back. That's what you are. But what you do is you run. So it is a descriptor. It is an adjective. It is a running back is what you are. The quarterback does not quarter. The fullback does not full. Those are more, I would say, technical terms, more esoteric terms that are just part and parcel of football.
We said almost like a noun, like that's who you are.
Right.
That is, you are the subject.
But it does bring up an interesting point about football terminology, which is we have really bastardized a lot of words, especially when it comes to positions.
Yeah.
In the state, in the world of football.
Right.
That we are, for example, your idea of running back is well taken because functionally what we've done is we've allowed that to just be a catch-all.
Yes.
For anybody who lines in the backfield that doesn't take the snap.
Exactly.
Right? And so really what we should be using are halfback or fullback or tailback or things like that.
Nickel.
Much more much more technical terms. Instead, I think because we are dum-dums, we've just said, oh, well, they're all running backs. They're all running backs. Now, there are a fair number of, especially you talk with coaches, I think that's a media creation. That I think coaches, a lot of them still use halfback, tailback, fullback.
Oh yeah, when I'm calling a coach asking before my Friday night game, I get the technical terms.
You'll
they
get a
don't
lot of tailback. You'll get a lot of
back.
running back. Yeah, you don't get running
same
back.
with receivers. A lot of times they don't say wide receivers as the overarching thing. They'll say, oh, our slot receiver, or just our receiver, or our wide out.
Wow, I just stammered. I had like 7 thoughts at once coming through my head, and they all tried to escape at once.
None of them
made it. They all died there. The one thing you'll get is you'll get X receiver, Y receiver, Z receiver. I'll get those that they'll say, yeah, he's our X receiver. And one of the ones that drives me nuts. One of the ones that drives me nuts is tight end. Tight end is a very specific thing.
Yep.
That is an end who lines up tight. That's it. That's the whole point. He lines up tight to the line. Rob Gronkowski did occasionally line up tight, but for the most part,
75% of the time.
He lined up as like the Z receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He lined up as the slot.
Right.
That's what he did. But what we've done, and I think again, this is a media creation.
Mm-hmm.
What we've done is because we don't want to look at the formation and quickly identify where they're lined up by position, because that's what the whole position name is, comes down to. Instead, we say, oh, well, that's Rob Gronkowski, the tight end lined up wide. No, he's not.
He's not a tight.
At that point, he's a receiver.
Yep.
At that point, he is a receiver.
And okay, to be fair to media, because you and I both agreed on this. No, don't be fair to the media. The reason that happens is because you're taught in broadcasting to put it in simpler terms that everyone now there's a difference. I will say most of the time radio broadcasters, they're going pretty stinking specific because they're having to paint the picture for it. TV is they've got to do general so that Joe Schmo or mom or aunt or kid can all understand layman term of it.
Right. Because you know what, realistically, what Rob Gronkowski is that he's a split end. Mm-hmm. Is what he is. But we have I think we have developed these catch-alls for these guys, and that's only on the offense. Now defense, and I think because defensive-minded people are crazy. Mm-hmm. Love you. Defensive-minded people are psychopaths.
Yes.
They are a lot more what's the word I'm looking for? They are a lot more loyal to what you are, like what your names are. Or what they'll do is that if you are something that we don't have a name for, they'll just create it.
Yeah.
That, for example, I was reading the Baylor preview, and we were talking about Jalen Petrie. Mm-hmm. And Jalen Petrie is functionally, in the Dave Aranda defense, he's functionally like their nickelback.
Yeah.
But they also ask him to do a lot more.
Right.
And so they just call him like the star. The star back or something like that. And you've got guys where it'll be a Fox backer, or you'll have guys who are, all these different individual to each program.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes they'll fill out the questionnaire and they'll be like, "Oh, he's our I don't know, I can't come up with another one. But like he's our star, or he's our bear." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that. You're like, okay, like can you
I think
kind of
that's
that
too just because defensive minded, you're more focused on a scheme working as a unit almost, and offense is so much more individual.
It can be more individual.
Because you've got, I mean, even if you've got trips and you've got the X, Y, and Z receiver all on one side, you're going to have them all doing their own personal thing. It's not running like a defense where you're theoretically in a man or zone overall, and you're all in a unit.
Together.
Yeah.
It's something that you lit a fuse with me, because it's something I've thought about for a long time.
Yeah, I just never said it.
We just don't, we've stopped being specific about positions. And like the only one that like really we get into is like the quarterback. It's like, okay, well, we know what the quarterback does. The quarterback is the one who takes the snap.
Yeah, Rob Hadaway brought up a good thing. It would have to be like calling the quarterback a passing back.
Right, exactly.
Like literally, he is exactly right there.
But the other thing, well, it's
because he's lined up behind the line.
And then, and then like the media had to come up with we have overused the phrase wildcat, which is like its own thing.
Yeah.
And to be clear, I'm certainly guilty of this too. I want to be very clear that I participate in this, and so I am certainly not doing anything to stop it.
Well,
but
it
is something that we've decided as a football media community that we are just going to kind of dumb down the positions.
Well, and that's a big thing for me being on the sidelines on Friday night, being honest, because I'm giving those quick minute 15, minute 30 hits, and it's like there are times where I want to really go in depth about what one specific thing did, and it's like
nope.
you can't do that. Like I can't break down the play right
because
then and
here's
there.
The thing. I'll appreciate it, and 9% of the people who are watching it will appreciate it,
and then
the other 90% are going to be like,
yeah, and it's like sometimes it's really hard on the sideline to have to kind of dumb it down a little bit and just call him a receiver. You know,
it's a little bit. Anyway, that's something. You set me off this morning. And by the way, just wait. If you think that I'm a big, we'll start the show here in a moment. But we're talking football. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer that defenses are going to become more hybridized. I don't think hybridized is the word, but they're going to become functionally more.
More hybrid.
I think everyone.
Oriented.
I think at some point we're just going to have a team full of free safeties.
Yes.
Like, I think linebackers are going to become much more like safeties. I think cornerbacks are already getting bigger.
Yes.
And so I think that you're going to all end up with a lot of guys who look a lot the same.
Alike. Yep.
If you think that it's confusing now, just wait until we get there, and wait until we've got like 7 strong safeties on the field.
Yeah, or 7 free safeties, and they're just running wild.
And Gary Patterson at TCU is one of those guys who I think has been on the forefront of stuff like this. That his defenses have always have been a lot more of hybrid type guys. We saw the news that Shadrack Banks was going to land that Shadrack Banks is going to land at TCU. They're going to try to turn him into a linebacker.
Yeah.
And there are people who are like, "Oh, what in the heck? Like, he's not a linebacker." And I'm like, "You're thinking of linebacker the wrong way."
Yeah, you're thinking of old school.
You're thinking of
neck brace. Big old pad.
You're thinking of Brian Urlacher.
Yep, exactly.
He's not going to be Brian Urlacher. What he's going to be is instead, and Jalen Smith's a bad example.
I would say like a Leighton Vander Esch is like the last, like he's one of the last like true linebacker, you know?
like there's basically Luke Kuechly and like a couple of other like old school linebackers, and the rest of them are just hybrids. And they're basically like strong safeties who line up in the box.
Yep.
That's exactly it. So anyway, the whole thing.
I'm glad that I sparked something.
It's something I've thought about
because
for a
it
long
sounds
time.
like a dumb question.
No, it does. Yeah, it's like, why is quarterback one
word? Yeah.
It's very like.
It's like I was like, this is not a grammatical thing. This is a ideology thing.
That's very like slow down the tape and listen to you ask it in slow motion. Be like,
yeah.
Why
is it one word?
All right, hit the theme next though. Let's go! Free money! Free
How to sing blue baby. Shot glass in your hand.
Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Louisville, Texas. It's Texas Football Today, a program coming to you through a series of tubes that are connecting us. We call it the internet. My name's Greg Tupper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, texasfootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you are watching us live at texasfootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dork, celebrating her religious holiday of Hawaiian Shirt Friday. She's actually pickled.
Fact. Also, I guess I'll throw this out here too. Happy anniversary to my parents, LP and Trish. 27 years today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good for them.
Good for them. I'm happy.
Happy anniversary to them.
I'm happy for those crazy kids.
Those
they made it work.
Those meddling kids.
Not meddling kids. No, don't confuse it. We're happy for them. Congratulations to Trish and LP. Today is Friday, May 21st, 2021, 188 days until Thanksgiving. Episode 1171. 1171. This is the Michael Young episode.
Hey, there's a household name.
Michael Young. That's like one of my dad's all-time favorite rangers.
Nice.
And
I
I gave him too much trouble at the end of his career because he was a bad third baseman.
Yes.
And he was a bad defensive player for the most part.
Yeah.
But I gave him too much trouble. He is an awesome Ranger, and I love him.
He's an
very
all-time
much.
great.
He's an all-time
I mean,
great.
he's in the Hall of Fame.
I love Michael.
So.
On today's show, my friends, it's QB season. We're going to hear from the general manager of Quarterback Ranch, Nate Poppell. They've got camps coming up here across the state of Texas for quarterbacks who are looking to sharpen their skills. Pickle talked with Nate Poppell of QB Ranch. That's coming up here. In the back half of the program, it's Mailbag Friday, brought to you by our good friends at Helpful Honda Dealers. So if you've got questions about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, what other actors are in Dave Campbell's Texas Football besides Luke Wilson? You can ask those questions in the comments.
Do you know the answer to that?
Yeah, I know a few.
Nice.
One of them played for Terrell.
Okay. I'll have to think on that.
I believe it's an Academy. I don't. Does he have an Oscar? He might. I'll have to look that up. Oregon, Texas, 972-532-6665, 972-5-DAM-OK, 972-532-MONK if you text us now. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Rob Hadaway, Coach Terry Crawford, Aaron Flynn, and Tony Blaylock. Welcome in, fellas.
I'm glad Terry Crawford's here because, because I like Terry Crawford, but also one place that I think you don't see. We were talking in the pre-show about us kind of dumbing down position titles.
Mm-hmm.
You do not see that as much in six-man. They are much more specific, and they are much more, like, for example, if you look at, like, the All-State team, they'll have a tight center and a spread center, right? They'll have two different kinds and stuff like that. And so they are, in my opinion, much more specific about what people do, and I think that they are, I think it's probably because the game is just a little bit different,
right?
And because players have to do more,
you have to do your specific job.
Otherwise, if you didn't do that, everyone would just be athlete.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah,
you have to do your specific job.
The six-man game, they are a lot more specific and a lot more rigorous about their naming conventions when it comes to positions. Anyway, maybe you didn't listen to the pre-show and you're very confused. Yesterday, Pickle, you got to catch up with Nate Poppell, the general manager at Quarterback Ranch, about what they've got cooking over there. Of course, they are helping to develop some of the best quarterbacks across the state of Texas. Here is Pickle's conversation with Quarterback Ranch general manager Nate Poppell here on Texas Football Today.
We are spending the offseason talking to some big guests, and we definitely have one today as we take a look at the general manager of Quarterback Ranch, an elite quarterback training camp, Nate Poppell. Nate, thanks so much for joining us today, man.
Yes, thank you, Ashley. I appreciate it.
So for anybody who's watching this that doesn't necessarily know exactly what Quarterback Ranch is, can you kind of tell them what that is?
Yep. So when we started, it was created to train quarterbacks at its most essential. We've kind of evolved into other positions and even some other sports, but it's a performance training company. We really, our numbers are really in like the middle school age range, and that's kind of where we try to start with our athletes and then grow them within the program, and hopefully on through college if we're doing our job right, and then of course if they're putting in the time and effort.
Now, and you kind of mentioned it there, but so many camps, they might just focus on the high school kids. Y'all really take them and groom them all the way up. And the other thing that I find super interesting that Quarterback Ranch does that some other facilities might not do in training camps is that you look at what those players are going, what schemes they're going to be running, what, plays that they need to be aware of, and start them from the beginning to match their specific program. How much impact does that make on these kids to do that and train them individually?
Well, I think you touched on it. I think that's something very unique that we do. And it's all about building the relationships with the high school coaches. We didn't, when we first started this back in 2014, we didn't want to be stepping on the toes of the coaches and kind of pulling these kids away and then making the athlete have to decide, oh, do I spend time with my team or do I come and do this on an individual basis and kind of prepare myself? We wanted that to kind of coincide with one another, even at the young age, even at the middle school and on through the high school age. Obviously, some things, kind of mimic each other in terms of different schemes, and there's some general things that we could teach all of our quarterbacks with the mechanics, but in terms of the on-field schematics, we try to, like I said, build that relationship with the athletic directors and the head coaches, let them give us an idea of what they expect out of their quarterbacks, what they want to see out of their quarterbacks coming into fall camp or even coming into their freshman year in high school. And then we try to just prepare accordingly and make sure that we leave no stone unturned in terms of the preparation that we put in place for our athletes.
Absolutely. And then another really cool thing that I know you do is you work with the Reps VR technology, which virtual reality for anyone who didn't know that. But how that's just such a fascinating process of how all that works, and what really gives the athletes the opportunity to do that, and what does it provide for them to work with that reps VR technology?
So any quarterback that's played the position understands that you cannot simulate game reps. And this is the best product that we've seen on the market in the quarterback training field that can do that. But any coach that you talk to, they want experience at quarterback position, but you can't gain experience until you're actually that leader of the team and that guy that's actually getting to play on the field. So this technology allows you from the comfort of your own home, from maybe a training facility or even on the field. It's completely remote, but you can put on the Oculus goggles and get in the headset, and at that point in time, I mean, you're basically transported to the helmet of a quarterback. And what's really neat is for our Elite Passing Academy this summer, which is our big blowout event that you guys are going to be a part of. All the quarterbacks there are going to actually have the opportunity to get in the reps headset within the camp environment and get a feel for what that technology can do, what it can provide, and then also see the benefits of it in terms of learning defensive coverages and also learning your own school schemes.
Very interesting, and you touched on it there. Obviously, the elite camp is the granddaddy of them all when it comes to the quarterback ranch. Kind of walk us through when an athlete is able to go to your elite camp. What is the process like? What skills will they learn there at that elite camp?
So the good thing about this camp is it's broken up into two age groups. So we do our younger guys in the morning, we do our high school group in the afternoon, and that allows us as coaches, I mean, we bring in coaches from all over the country to be a part of this. Ex-NFL players, coaches have been a part of it and will continue to be a part of it. And guys that are doing the training business at a really high level throughout the country, we're inviting to come be a part of it as coaches. So for an athlete to get to go to the camp, I mean, it's an opportunity for 2 full days of work. Obviously, as any quarterback instructor, any quarterback coach knows, we're gonna start with the basics and make sure that everybody's caught up and up to speed on the basic fundamentals that we want to touch on. But then it starts moving pretty fast, and it's a up-tempo environment. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of things going on, and it's a lot of work and competition. So we encourage quarterbacks that want the competition and want to kind of test their skills against guys their age, not only here in Dallas-Fort Worth, but really throughout the state and throughout the country. This is a unique opportunity to do so and kind of test your merits against other guys that at the end of the day, you're competing with those scholarship offers too, by the time you graduate. So it gives some good perspective for both players, parents. We do some classroom study. We do some leadership talks. So we try to incorporate kind of a holistic view of giving these athletes, things to help their development.
A well-rounded experience for sure. And one other thing that I saw when I was, going through the website and everything, y'all do a Texas football experience camp where it looks like you invite kids from across the world and stuff like that to come and get that experience. You're a guy who is super familiar with Texas football, played high school ball at Spring, second all-time leading passer in A&M Kingsville history. What about Texas high school football in general makes it so different and just special, almost, I guess you could put it?
It's really hard to put a finger on what exactly it is, but the more we travel, the more we do camps, and you touched on it, the Texas football experience is an opportunity for athletes from all over the world to come and join us for a week of training and some Texas culture mixed in there. So we've been doing that for the past 4 years, and we've had guys from Europe come over and spend the week with us. We have guys from different parts of Texas that have just never been to Dallas and kind of experienced Dallas like that to get to come up and spend the week with us. And then obviously with all the fun there, I mean, it's work each and every day in between. So we fully expect these kids, by the time they show up to the time they leave, not only to have a well-rounded experience, but to also improve quite drastically over that week. But in terms of what makes Texas different, I mean, the more we travel, what I can, I guess, say is that it just starts at such a young age. I mean, you got sixth graders that understand spread offense and understand defensive coverage. And maybe it's just because 7-on-7 has become so big down here. So now people can play the sport year round, and you're not having to worry about the constant physicality of it. You're not tackling as much in the spring, and they're kind of changing some of that. But the 7-on-7 and the growth of that, and then just everybody's dad who has kids now, they all played high school football, and it was always meaningful for them and something that was important to their development to where they are now. And I think it just kind of gets passed on from generation to generation and creates a pretty special football culture down this way.
Couldn't agree more. And I do hope in that Texas experience that there's some good barbecue involved in that.
That's a big part of it. Yes, that's one of the big staples of that week, no doubt.
Good. Glad to hear it. Teaching them right. Well, before I let you go, just want to ask, if people are interested after listening to this interview of getting their son in there and being a part of that, the quarterback ranch, where can they go to find more information about camps and all of that information?
So anytime kind of with our weekly stuff, we post all of our camp flyers to all of our social media, which on Instagram and Twitter, it's QB_ranch, at QB_ranch. On Facebook, we post it all there too, just the quarterback ranch. And then all the camp actual registration where you'd have to go and log on and get your athletes or yourself registered is www.thequarterbackranch.com. All the information you touched on between the Elite Passing Academy, we even have a Texas tour where we're stopping throughout different towns this summer in Texas. So for some of the people that may be watching that are maybe out of town a little ways, or Central or South Texas, there's opportunities to find us maybe closer to them. But all that information is there on the website, along with all the registration details as well.
He's Nate Poppell, of the general manager of Quarterback Ranch. Nate, really appreciate you and the company and all y'all do to keep growing the sport that we all love so much. And of course, always appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us today.
I sure appreciate it, Ashley. Thank you.
There is Nate Poppell, the general manager of QB Ranch. It's thequarterbackranch.com. You can check out all that they've got going. They got skills camps coming up in July in Hallettsville, June in Cuero. Is that right? Am I reading this correctly?
Yeah, their big one. No. Their big one's heading up in July.
In July. So
their elite one.
Yeah, very, very cool. Appreciate Nate Poppell for hopping on with us. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Please consider becoming a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. That's our subscription package. 2 magazines, a year's worth of exclusive online content, including the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, mailed to you before it hits newsstands. If you go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe, makes a great gift as well. Sunday is Pickle's birthday, so for Pickle's birthday, get your friend a subscription to Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Pickle, it's Friday. Some might call it Fry-yay.
That's what I like to call it.
And that means here on this very program, it is Mailbag Friday, brought to you by our good friends, the helpful Honda dealers.
And the North Texas Honda dealers want to help you score some great deals on award-winning Hondas. Stop by your helpful Honda dealer today or visit ntxhondadealers.com to learn more.
So if you've got questions about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, all those sorts of things. Hondas. Texas Football, you can get to us in the comments on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or you can text us 972-532-6665. Bring on the TFT text line. So let us know. To close a loop. Oh, wait, two things to close. One, somebody asked us in the comments if we were going to talk about Jadon Blue, the Klein Kane running back who announced yesterday he's opting out of his senior season.
Headlines.
We will talk about that on Monday with headlines with
Matt Stepp,
who's on his way back. Matt Stepp's going to be here.
He's on a plane, now.
He'll be in studio on Monday. So we'll talk about that and all the other headlines, but we'll lump that into there. So, because it's Mailbag Friday, brought to you by our help Honda dealers. Also, to close the loop, I mentioned to you that there was an Academy Award winning actor in our magazine, and I will direct you to the 1985 edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, to page number 220. Is that right? 220.
You had it. You lost it.
The Terrell Tigers, coached by Jerry Crumpton. Blah, 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 blah. Where is he? Oh my gosh, I just lost it. Speedy
are
Joe
going
Wilson is their running back. Will strike often and deep in opposing secondaries behind the blocking of center Terry Hubbard, guard Kevin Bashan, and tackles Shuck Weiland and Richard Alsbrook, and tight end Kyle Mariscola. When Wilson doesn't have the ball, opponents must watch out for quarterback Eric Bishop. And you're probably thinking, wait a second, okay.
I don't recognize
I don't
that
know who
name.
Eric Bishop. Eric Bishop is the name of Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx, quarterback.
That's awesome.
Carroll. He's in the 1985 edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. And let me tell you why I don't like the 1985 edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
Oh, yeah, go ahead and let's rip this to shreds real
Okay.
fast. Take a look.
So here it is. This is Jim Wacker. Unbelievable, right? Okay.
Like the cover?
Like
fan
the cover.
of the cover? What we're not a fan of.
Look at that spine.
There is
It's
nothing
a
on it.
blank spine, as opposed to here's 1989. Beautiful. You can't see it, baby, but it says 1989 Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Let me tell you something, okay? I'm not saying I'm the greatest managing editor this magazine's ever had. Okay? That list starts. I don't know if Dave was ever managing editor. He was obviously doing the managing editing, but as far as the title is concerned, I'm forming a line behind David Barron.
Yeah.
At the very least. I'm not. But one thing that I will say in the Tepper era of Dave Campbell's Texas
Lord.
Football is I ain't ever doing something like that. We're going to have, if you get all your magazines, you're going to have the year. You can line them
Displayed
all
on the
up
outside.
and know where it is.
Yep.
Okay? Because I know you nerds. All you nerds
You line
out
'em
there
up.
who have them, you line them up on your bookshelf and you go, I got to go grab the 2017 edition. And bang, you can see it immediately. When you got a blank spine like this,
You're sitting there having to pull them out. The
are
whole
you
time.
kidding me? Managing editor
Don't roast the man.
Philip Tate? Come on, dude. By the way, one thing I won't give them credit for. They realized their mistake. They must have gotten roasted. Because in 86,
It was back
bang.
on. Yeah.
It's upside down. Bang, it's back. They got the spine back. Anyway, those are the types of things that I notice because it's important to me. So I will promise you this. I'm not saying you're going to like every magazine that I'm the managing editor of.
But there
But
will
you
be a
will,
number on the
for
spine.
every summer edition, you will have a clearly marked spine. In fact, let me see. Rising, we do it. Rising's obviously smaller, but yeah, we do the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it's on there.
Do the same
Font's
thing.
tiny, but it's on
Texas Football Rising, yeah. Do we have any questions?
there. We sure do. Let's go with if you could be on any game show, what would you be on?
Price is Right is obviously like a key choice, but there's also like a good chance that you never make it out of Bitters Row.
Yeah.
So
Saying no whammies.
and
would be
the other
fun.
thing about that, Price is Right is real hit and miss because like obviously look, would I love to play Plinko? Of course. It's kind of my dream. But like there's also an opportunity you get up there and it's like, oh, you do the thing where you punch out the things and blow out the cars. It's like that's lame. I don't want that. So I would say I think I'm pretty good. I think I'm pretty good at Wheel of Fortune, but I think everybody thinks they're pretty good at Wheel of Fortune. It's the Mario Kart of game shows.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they're pretty good at it.
I practice.
You practice Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah, I've got it on PS2.
I DVR Jeopardy because I'm cool.
I love Jeopardy.
Jeopardy's
so much.
great.
Jeopardy's hard.
Jeopardy's also
I wouldn't do well on Jeopardy,
Jeopardy
but I love it.
Also elite drinking game.
Yes.
Elite drinking game.
Yeah,
'Cause if you get it, you get to assign a drink, and if you miss it, you gotta drink yourself.
I like when they do like the kid and teen specials because then you can like spat out answers and you just feel awesome.
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, that's it. I'm gonna graduate up to the adult one, and then you're back to like.
Actually, you
what
know
did
what?
they just ask?
I do have an answer to this. Do you know what game show I'd be on?
I know my answer. What's
Okay,
yours?
what's your answer?
A Family Feud.
Okay, that would be
like the old Family Feud.
Mm.
The new one is something, but the old Family Feud when they were funny questions and stuff like that, I like that.
Okay. Supermarket Sweep.
Ooh, okay,
I'd be on Supermarket Sweep.
okay.
Because no matter what, all three of the contestants go to the big shop off at
Yes.
the end. So at the very least, you'd get to do that.
And
And I
then-
have studied this show, and I have a strategy
Yeah.
in my brain. You got to go to the turkeys first. Got to go to the meat
Yeah.
counter. You got to get all the meat
Meat
first.
first, yep.
Everything else is kind of secondary.
Yep.
But there. And then also, I also think I'm pretty good at riddles. And so like with the final showdown of
yeah.
like it's like basically 3 riddles.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah. See, I would say Family Feud because I just think that would be like a
Yeah.
fun experience. Also, the pickles would look
Oh,
great
for sure.
behind the thing.
For sure.
Like,
No.
we'd be a crowd favorite
there's
there.
There's an excellent aesthetic there
I-
with the pickles standing up there with the pickles.
I
behind
also
it.
have real big faith that if we made it to be the winning team, my mom and dad they've been together so long that they're very much on the same thought process, and so when they do you have to give the same like the opposite answer and stuff, I feel like we would be really good at making it there to like cash in the big bucks.
Yeah.
So
Family Feud's-
that'd be
Family
good.
Feud's
But Wheel of
good.
Fortune would, if I was doing it solo,
Yeah.
Wheel of Fortune would be my go-to.
Super Mark for me.
I like that. Let's go with what is your mainstream food recommendation?
Mainstream food.
Now, I think let's split this into 2 categories here and go like fast food, like drive-through
Drive-through.
fast food, or like sit-down mainstream restaurant.
So we're talking like chains.
Yes,
Like
chains.
chains.
I want a drive-through option, then I want
Alright.
something in the realms of
The
like
fast
a
casual.
Chili's.
The fast casual.
Yeah.
Well, then it'd be Chili's.
Yeah.
I like Chili's.
I do too.
We have done in the Pandy. My wife and I on a couple of occasions
yeah.
have done the Chili's like to
go.
I've
I
gone and
did
picked
that
it up.
twice.
Pretty solid. You know what you're getting, and it's look. I'm not here to tell you that I think that Chili's is high end, cultured cuisine, but I think it's pretty darn good. That's fine.
Yep.
The other one that we've been eating a lot in our house because Hank's got some stuff that he likes there is Panera.
Okay.
And they're a St. Louis company, and so my wife is big into them. As far as drive-through is concerned, I mean, Whataburger is an easy choice, but at the same time, their drive-through is a little bit slow sometimes. Ooh, can I say Rosa's Cafe?
I like that.
Because Rosa's is
It's both. It's a hybrid.
You would think like, wait a second, that's not a drive-through, and it's like they have a miraculous drive-through.
Yes, they
it's
absolutely
incredible. You will order and you will be on your way 90 seconds later. It's incredible.
And it's good.
Good.
It's always
It's really
good.
quality,
I would say.
Love our friends at In-N-Out too. I should probably shout them out.
Yeah.
Their sponsor. And Whataburger. We do love Whataburger.
I would say. I mean, I gotta go Sonic. I feel like you know how I love my Sonic. Chili's was, I think, probably the standard answer. If I could give another one, I would On the Border. Is chain
Okay.
that's just kind of a
Cheney.
you can go to an On the Border anywhere and you're going to get the same quality of food no matter where you go. Like, it's not going to be miraculous Mexican food, but
I mean, look, the answer for drive-through is very clearly Whataburger.
yes.
Like, I think we're trying to think outside the
Right,
box
yeah.
of like, okay, put Whataburger in the class of its own. They're obviously the king. Where do we go next?
Right.
So yeah. All right. Do we have one more?
Yeah. What is the best rainy day binge? I'm assuming for TV show.
Boy, howdy. I don't know if weather has anything to do with it, but
I think so.
You think so?
I think it does.
Okay, well, you tell me then, smart lady.
I say you go more serious show when it's rainy day binge because you know for a fact you're going to be sitting there watching it all day. Like I always like the Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder type stuff. You know, something that you're going to sit there and really focus on and the day's just going to kind of fly by. Because, if you're going to binge The Office and stuff, I wouldn't necessarily say that's, a rainy day thing because that's kind of something you have on while you're doing other things, in my opinion. I think you go serious. I think you go more serious murder, mystery, something. Crime. Dark, gruesome.
I don't know. Because normally I would, I was listening to an interview yesterday with Alan Sepinwall. He's the TV critic at the Rolling Stone. He's written a couple of books about, The Sopranos and The Wire and, the golden age of television, and stuff like that. And one show, he brought up he perfectly captured exactly how I feel about Ozark.
Ooh, okay.
He said, it feels like a copy of a copy of a copy. It feels like a Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox.
Yes.
That, it all started with Tony Soprano, and, then it's oh, is this the age of the anti-hero? And,
Right.
some places have like some shows have really taken what that show was actually about, which is like there's not neat, tidy endings. It's just life is messy and it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it just happens to focus on an anti-hero. And some of them have been like, people love anti-heroes. And that's when you get like shows that are just kind of, I don't know. I can't get into Ozark because it's just like, I think I've realized that it's
The
just
plot is so similar.
It just feels really like we've done this before. And like, I know what you're driving at. And I think you're missing what makes The Sopranos great.
Right.
I would say, I'll say if you just want to be just like sad all the time, and you have HBO Max or HBO, I suppose, The Leftovers is excellent. And it's just like I started watching that at the beginning of the pandy, and I had to stop because obviously there was a lot of bad things going on, and then it was like, oh, this is just making me further depressed.
Yeah.
It's long story short, it is about at one point in time, like a moment happens and 10% of the population's gone. They're just gone.
Crazy.
Like,
yeah, that's not something that I would have enjoyed during the pandemic.
No, and it's just like how people.
It's
about the leftovers, about the people who have like the people who are left behind.
Yeah.
And it's like how you deal with it, and like
That's
people
insane.
lost kids, and people like lost parents, and people lost loved ones. And
No,
you're like,
that's not a pandy show.
The worst. Anyway, but that's a nice rainy day show if you just want to be sad all the time.
Two things to throw out that really good restaurants that we forgot about for like a chain one. Texas Roadhouse is a really solid pick there, and then I don't know, what is your opinion on this? Schlotzsky's. I love Schlotzsky's.
I like Schlotzsky's.
I love Schlotzsky's.
Almost never seek it out. Every time I have it, I like it.
Mm-hmm. You just never think about it?
I'm never like, I should go to Schlotzsky's. I also can't spell it, and it makes me tense. Everything else I can spell. All the other ones that we mentioned.
That's fair.
Texas Roadhouse. TEXAS space ROADHOUSE. Texas Roadhouse.
Wrong.
Thank you. It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Nate Poppell of QB Ranch, quarterbackranch.com, for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please meet your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you Monday with Matt Stepp in studio.
Woo!
Texas Football Today.